Some of the plants that are really doing well at the moment in the garden and really appreciating the weather are the cornices and the cistuses. The lime green of this cornice is amazing, and then if you just look in the middle, we've got the start of the berries coming, which will be the most beautiful colour against the Listeria formosa, which we call the shrimp bush. I visited a garden yesterday and saw that someone had standardised their plant, and I'm just wondering if I can do the same with this. The geums are on their second flush of flowers, which is amazing. And then the roses here, this one's been flowering all summer at the moment. This cornice is out. It seems to be more in the sun here, this part of the garden. So we've got the flowers shining through. As we're looking through this border, we can see that the weather's really hit the daisies hard and they're almost laid flat. And I'm going to have to give them a really good deadheading. Under the daisies we've got some Valencia and we've got some of the lemon balm. We're in the front garden this morning, starting at the gate and just having a quick look through at what's gone over and what is still to come. We've got some of the beautiful salvias, and I think this is hot lips. The daisies are starting to go over at the back. There's a little bit of cosmos action in the back there, but not much, not as much as I was planning for. Dahlias, got a big dahlia here. This is a white one of the spiky varieties with a daisy. The crocosmia is absolutely stunning. This is a new planting. I did this at the beginning of the year when I split up the massive clump of crocosmia that was under the hedge. The Perovskia, or the Russian sage, is really looking beautiful with the mallow. I've got a couple of the Russian sages throughout the garden. They last longer than lavenders, and I quite like the fact that they have that look of lavender. The Achilles. The job today will be to chop this lemon balm back. It needs to have its growth cut back, and then it will give me a fresh flush of green. The Alankia tree should have some berries on it somewhere, unless the birds have had them all already, and that's looking through to the chicken run, the hammock and the bench. In our driveway we do have a small roundabout, and the roundabout I redeveloped at the beginning of the year, just to give us a bit more interesting colour. It only had 2 plants in it and they went over at the beginning of spring, but now we've got gorgeous cosmos, cornflowers, which will be deadheaded today. All the daisies, some more cosmos. In the roundabout we have this crabapple tree, which I make crabapple jelly from, and it's got lots of crabapples on it this year. These bluebell flowers are stunning. This is climbing through the rose that comes out in early spring just to give it a bit more colour. There's a little pink bell there. Loving the colour on the sedums. These are stunning, and we're going to get the beautiful pinkness coming out very soon, but I love them at this stage. Big fat bumblebee. Lots of bees on this. The Choicea Sundance is about to flower, and that is going to be amazing. Known as the mock orange bush, that will give us that fragrant orange scent for evenings, for when we're sat at the table and chairs here. I'm really behind with garden chores, so we've got a load of ground elder down there with a beautiful geum amongst it. I should have cut back the lupins, so I'll do them today. I should have weeded through this border. I think one of the things you will notice about the garden this year, it's slightly different from other years, is the state of the hedges. And we've done this on purpose this year. We don't trim in early spring because of the nesting birds. And this year I was really keen to make sure that we had loads of blackberries to go in the freezer, and sloes as well. So we've got sloe bushes around the garden, which we're going to use to make sloe gin. Just looking at the roundabout, it's looking really pretty for once. The last few years it's been very dry and arid this time of year, but this year we've got the daisies and the dahlias are in there, and just the greens as well. I've gone for a probably a silvery effect with the leaves, so there's quite a lot of variegated and silver leaved plants in there. The silver of the Pittosporum, we've got the silver foliage of the buddleia at the back there, with the blues and the whites and the pinks. Kind of gives it a cohesive look. The view from my piece of lawn underneath the tree on the roundabout. This is a nice place to sit and read a book on a hot day. We've not had any hot days now for probably 5 weeks. So yeah, it's been crazy British weather. So my gardening style, I would say, people, is very, very eclectic. I tend not to plan too much. I tend to get the plants first and then find a place for them. I'm definitely not a garden. I'm an amateur gardener with a passion for plants, and I literally have the philosophy that if I stuff the garden full of plants, there's no room for the weeds. I can't say that's exactly right, but it does give you this effect, which is very cottage garden. And I'm pretty sure the previous owners of this cottage back in time weren't qualified gardeners either, and they did just the same. The glory of the fuchsia and the sweet williams and the salvias on this wall, just riotous colour. So we are fueled by oil here. So the oil heats the water, does our cooking, does the heating, and we find that that's okay. It takes a little bit of getting used to, especially the oil-fired range. If you're used to conventional ovens, there is an art form to it, and the books can't really show you. I believe every single range cooker has an identity to itself, and you have to get to know them and literally know where your hot spots are, and constantly moving your dishes and your plates around to make sure that things are cooked evenly. Baking is a whole nother experience with a range cooker, but after 3 years we're nearly there with ours. I can't believe how much growth the pine cones have put on. All this rain has really helped them, and you can just see the resin dripping out of them. This tree is magnificent, and it does provide valuable shade on a hot day, and it does keep a lot of rain off of you. On a rainy day you can seek shelter under here. The job today is to build the maternity wing for the girls that are sitting on eggs. I've got 2 hens currently sitting on batches of eggs, so we're building the maternity wing, and I'll hopefully add that video to the end of this one.